Good environmental stewardship is more than just the 3 R's. It's also about preserving Ontario's natural heritage. Bring Back the Salmon is North America's largest freshwater restoration project. The goal is to restore the Atlantic salmon to Lake Ontario, a species that was declared locally extinct more than 100 years ago. The LCBO and Australian winemaker Banrock Station are providing core funding, but it's going to take more than money to bring back the salmon. It's going to take the dedication of hundreds of volunteers, modern science, and a little luck. It's a cold, wet spring morning on the banks of the Credit River. But a little rain is not about to stop these volunteers from releasing thousands of Atlantic salmon fry.
Don't leave the bags like that near the river. Make sure the bags stay like this. That way you get good oxygen transfer to the fish, okay?
It's all part of a major push to reintroduce Atlantic salmon to Lake Ontario, a local species that died out more than 100 years ago.
We now know that young Atlantic salmon can survive in these waters, and that's a testament to the improvements that have been made in these watersheds, and we can only go up from there. And I think that the Atlantic salmon will provide that sort of flagship, that momentum to move forward. And I think as the public see the Atlantic salmon coming back, there will be even more interest to improve our water quality and the habitats that they live in.
Known as the king of the game fish, the Atlantic salmon is one of the world's great fighting fish. Their return would benefit Ontario sport fishing and tourism. But more importantly, it would right an environmental wrong. In the early 1800s, Lake Ontario's rivers and streams were teeming with Atlantic salmon. They were so plentiful that Lady Simcoe's diary describes farmers using pitchforks to fish for them in the Don River. However, as the pace of settlement intensified, so did pressure on the species. There was rampant overfishing. Dams prevented them spawning upstream. And logging and farming caused soil erosion that damaged their habitats. Eventually, their cold water rivers became warm, silted, and polluted. By the late 1890s, despite attempts to save them, the Lake Ontario Atlantic salmon was officially declared locally extinct.
It's my pleasure to be able to offer our sincere thanks to all those who are supporting the partnership of bringing the Atlantic salmon back to Lake Ontario.
Now, more than a century later, the Atlantic salmon is getting a second chance. Bring Back the Salmon, a special 5-year project, will help restore this majestic sport fish to Lake Ontario. With OFA, the Ontario Federation of Anglers and Hunters, in the lead role, Banrock Station Wines and LCBO are providing core funding.
Well, I think it just sends all kinds of good messages, if you will, that the LCBO is concerned about our environment. They're willing to put some funding into it, they're willing to promote it, and they're willing to work with good partners in order to make those things happen.
Banrock is contributing $1.25 million, its largest single donation outside Australia. And the LCBO's Natural Heritage Fund will also contribute an estimated $250,000, 25 cents from the sale of each EnviroBag. These funds will help increase fish restocking, expand habitat restoration, and improve research and monitoring, essential to the project's success.
Well, you know, it's not just about the salmon. Restoring the salmon to Lake Ontario is the achievement that really provides a focus. But it really means doing work throughout the Lake Ontario watershed to make the rivers more habitable for fish and all other kinds of species.
We can spread the story about how we're contributing, the more enthusiasm we can build for this, because I think this is great that we're participating and we're out here and that we're giving back to the community and back to the environment.
We are now in the process of reintroducing Atlantic salmon into Lake Ontario because all the conditions are right. We've got great partners in LCBO and Banrock Station and others on board. I'm confident that we'll see Atlantic salmon swimming again, healthy in Lake Ontario.
But achieving that goal isn't going to be easy. So far, more than 500,000 fry and fingerlings have been released in Lake Ontario's rivers and streams. But no one is certain how many of these fish will survive. So biologists are experimenting with different brood stocks to find the strain with the best chance of survival.
Atlantic salmon fry spend their juvenile time in the stream behind a rock. I think it's much harder than rocket science because we have no formula. This has never been done before. We've lost our original genetic strains, so we're trying to find a strain that will be successful in these changed watersheds.
Some researchers are even looking to the past for answers. Here at the Royal Ontario Museum, a special project is recovering DNA from salmon carcasses dating from the 1800s. The hope is that once the DNA markers are found, researchers can locate an existing strain of Atlantics that can thrive in the Lake Ontario watershed.
Essentially, the fish that were in Lake Ontario had been here for a very long time, and they had a long time to adapt to the local environment. So our ambition, our goal here is to actually find one that's genetically very closely related, preferably one that's a descendant, because it will have the same adaptations that will actually give it its best chance to survive in the Lake Ontario environment.
Our main focus is to try and see how many Atlantic salmon there are today. We've got a 112-meter site, and we're going to start down here, work our way
It's
up.
fall on the banks of the Credit. Time to see if the stocking program is working. The fish are on the river bottom, so ministry staff use a mild electric shock to force them to the surface.
77.
Then they're measured, weighed, counted, and later released back into the river. On this day, this section of the Credit yields more than 170 Atlantics.
91.
It's a positive sign, and for some, proof that one of Ontario's lost treasures can be brought back from extinction.
Well, this is a species that was part of our cultural heritage, our history. It's behind a lot of the founding of this part of Ontario. It's something that really belongs here. So this is our chance, now that the science has told us the conditions are right and we have the capability to do it, we have the support, so it's time to do it.
All gone. Wonderful. Now I'm going to catch